Happy Monday. Welcome into another edition of 3 Point Stands presented by Mountain Dew. Jon Rahm, Meghan Triplett, like always. And let's talk about that very, very busy, jam-packed weekend that was. And let's start in the NBA. Roser, last night's game 7 in the Eastern Conference semis between the 76ers and the Hawks. Hawks able to get it done in Philly. You look at this Philadelphia team, the team that was the number 1 seed in the East. Where does Philly now at this point go from here?
Well, I think it's pretty obvious. Ben Simmons will not be on the team next year. And, you know, it's crazy. They had an opportunity to get James Harden. And now Harden had his injuries this year, but who knows if that would happen if he was playing for them. You don't know. But looking back on it, you wonder if Brooklyn came in over the top and because there are some stories you could read out there that Philly thought they had Harden. They thought they had that deal done. And I guess Brooklyn swooped in and offered even more. But yeah, you got to think, but where do you send him and what are you going to get? Like the obvious one that it's not going to happen because it would take a ton, but it's Damian Lillard going to Philadelphia, Ben Simmons going to Portland. But that is just not enough for Damian Lillard. Like Portland, like Philly would have to throw in way. I mean, Ben Simmons' stock is way down after these playoffs. So I don't know. Ben Simmons for CJ McCollum. I don't know how much better that makes Portland. It would certainly make them better defensively, but you do take away a big offensive weapon. I mean, I don't know. You know, I think Ben Simmons probably is best fit if he has, you know, like you need like 4 shooters out there with him. You need 4 guys that can really knock down. Like if you played for the Warriors, he'd be fine. Steph Curry and Klay Thompson, like I mean, you know, you'd be absolutely fine. But I don't know. I don't know where. I mean, all I know is that this was the end of that process era and raise the cat and all that stuff.
Yeah, I agree with you, and I do think that like for Ben, I think it's just I don't see anything, any road leading where your back's in Philly when it comes into like October. I don't see him being in a Sixers jersey, but how they make that happen and where he could go next. We do know that Ben Simmons is an amazing athlete. He's an amazing player. He's got some work to do. He's got to figure out this mental game. You know, we talked about it. You got to give so much more credit to the Atlanta Hawks team for making that part of the game plan because it worked. And not only did it work against Ben Simmons mentally and how aggressive he was in that game, where you're able to take out your second best player on your group, where you're taking him out, you know, late in the fourth quarter when the game is really, really on the line and where it matters. But not only that, but I really do think it was like a domino effect for every single other player. Like it just transcended against the whole entire group, the whole entire roster. I do think Philly has other things that they got to figure out as well on their roster, but it does start with Ben Simmons. And, you know, they have gone so deep on a Ben Simmons and keeping him, but it did not work. And for this case and for this series, that can't be the case when you're trying to win a championship. And you want to get a healthy Joel Embiid back, and all of that plays in the factor. But for them, I do think Philly, it's going to be a time to go. I don't know how you come back from this locker room wise, fan base wise. It's going to rain over him for a while, and we know mentally he might not be able to handle all that. From what we saw.
No, I don't know. I don't know where he goes. I'm sitting here. I'm trying to think of teams that. You know, really, I mean, he's a great player. He is like, he's a great player and has a lot of things he can bring to help a team win. It's just like we see what happens in the playoffs. We see what happens.
I was listening to Magic Johnson on Keyshawn, J. Will, and Zubin, and they're talking about, you know, maybe it's in LA, like where you just need that, like you don't need him to be that shooter, but you just kind of need him to, you need his defense. He plays great defense. He's able to get guys involved. Sometimes we didn't see it in this series, but he's able to get guys involved.
Are we talking the Lakers?
Yes, that's what.
Why would that? LeBron James dominates the ball, so Ben Simmons is just going to be standing somewhere like that. The other thing too. Who do the Lakers have to give up? Who do you want?
Well, they're saying like they switched for Alex Caruso because Alex Caruso could be that like a two-way player that Philly could need. That was just an option.
What the hell is trading Ben Simmons for Alex Caruso? Who was this? Keyshawn?
I was listening to Keyshawn, J. Will, and Zubin trying to figure out.
J. Will must not have been on there. But those other two, they clearly know nothing about basketball. Nobody, Philadelphia, Daryl Morey is not trading Ben Simmons for Alex. Alex Caruso sucks. Come on.
You gotta find a place for Ben. You gotta find a great place.
That's fine. It's not Alex.
I'm trying to figure out where that could be.
This is what I hate is so many of these national media guys, especially radio guys, some of these national radios that really don't know crap about the NBA. They just try to figure out a way to trade everybody to the Lakers. How does somebody get to the Lakers? How does somebody get to the Knicks?
Roser, I hit a nerve, and I know I know you don't like the Lakers.
Well, that's just because you can't
forget that so
Meghan,
much.
Meghan, you are an Olympian now. You are an Olympian now. Okay, you are an Olympian now. You cannot be listening to stupidity on a Monday morning like that on your way into work.
Oh my God. Okay, look, we're running out of time. I should have never brought it up. Goodness gracious.
Eastern Conference Finals. I got Milwaukee. I hate the way Trae Young plays basketball. He's been awesome. I can't stand the way he plays basketball. Shout out to the Bucks. Big Game 7 win over my Brooklyn Nets. Both teams were absolutely gassed at the end. It was an awesome game. That is everything you want from a Game 7. When Kevin Durant airballs a three, and he's shooting over Drew Holiday. I get through all of it. Played great. Dude, Kevin Durant is 7 feet tall. Drew Holiday is like 6'2". Like Kevin, he was dead. He was absolutely exhausted. He had no lift on anything. But that was an amazing game. Shout out to the Milwaukee Bucks. Congratulations. And I think Milwaukee will be representing the Eastern Conference in the NBA Finals. Drew Holiday, get as physical as you want with Trae Young. Beat that dude down.
I'm with you. I do think for the Hawks, they have surprised me, and I've counted them out. I never thought they would get to where they are getting to. I didn't think they were going to beat the Knicks. I didn't think they were going to beat Philly. So obviously I am wrong every single time, but I'm still now going to go against the Atlanta Hawks. So I'm with you. I do think the Bucks are going to take this one. I don't think they're going to have an answer for Giannis. I don't think there's going to be an answer what the Hawks were able to do.
You don't think John Collins can stop Giannis onto the
court? I don't think so. I think for John Collins, he had his moment. For Joel Embiid. Joel Embiid was very hurt. Giannis is healthy. This is a healthy core group Bucks team. They have the Hawks are so young. I do think against PJ Tucker, they're going to get into. I think now it's going to be different. They're going to get into Atlanta psyche, just like Atlanta got into Philly. I think the Bucks will do that. And I got to get our last dance because U.S. Open. My dad was watching on Father's Day weekend. We allow him to watch because he loves golf. But I'm going to let you open up and say congratulations to Rahm for winning it all.
Yeah, Jon Rahm, he's been one of the best golfers in the world, one of the best one of the top 5 golfers in the world the last 2 to 3 years. Last season, he was the number 1 golfer in the world for a lot of the year until Dustin Johnson overtook him. And, the one thing Rahm's been searching for is that first major win. And it's a great story here. He gets it at Torrey Pines in San Diego. And Torrey Pines is also, that's where they have the Farmers Invitational. Obviously, they changed the course when they have the U.S. Open there. The U.S. Open, layout is a lot more difficult. But he won his first ever PGA Tour event at Torrey Pines. He proposed to his wife, his now wife, at Torrey Pines, and he wins his first career major, the U.S. 2021 U.S. Open at Torrey Pines by birdieing number 17 and number 18. You had a leaderboard that had, at the turn, you had Bryson DeChambeau up there, Brooks Koepka, Rory McIlroy, Colin Morikawa, Xander Schauffele. All of those guys are major winners outside of Xander Schauffele. All of those guys have won major tournaments. Louis Oosthuizen up there, who has also won a major tournament. And all those guys, DeChambeau, Tank, a lot of those guys fell off and just couldn't get it done. And Jon Rahm went out there, birdied 17, birdied 18, back-to-back to close his round out and get the win at the U.S. Open. So he went out there and took it, big-time performance. Awesome. Congratulations to Jon Rahm. And that's an amazing story. Your first PGA Tour event, you propose to your wife on that course, and you win your first major at that course.
Yeah, and I love the part about just 2 weeks ago where, COVID health and safety protocols, his parents were there. His parents got to meet his son. He couldn't be there. His parents are here, were there over the weekend. They got a chance to all be together. Yep. And Father's Day, his 3-month son is there. It was a beautiful, beautiful story. I know he was the number 1, player that everyone betted to win it all. And you like to see that when you're like, okay, the guy we all predicted got it all done. So congratulations to him. It was a busy weekend throughout the whole entire weekend. So hopefully today everyone gets a chance to just regroup, and rest. And that's all we got time for this edition of 3 Point Stands.